Hey you guys, my name is Lily Thomas and this is my first video here on YouTube. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be doing some assumptions that people have about Christians. To be honest with you, I was very saddened, but I wasn't surprised at, the assumptions that people have about Christians. If you see me looking down, it's because I've got notes right here. So let's just get into this. Okay, so the first one I'm going to read out made up about 90% of the overall assumptions, and I'm not surprised. So the first thing that people said was that Christians are judgmental, judgy, pushy, all of that good stuff. And, to be honest with you, I agree from experience. Christians tend to, hold themselves higher. Like, they carry themselves as if, we are better than absolutely everybody. Which, let's be real, it's not the case at all. Like, Christians should not carry themselves as if they're better than you, they're better than me, they're better than anyone, because not one person is better than another, and that should not be the case. But also, let me just point out that you can't judge a religion or judge a walk of life based on the negatives. So the Christians I've met, most of them are very judgmental. However, if you do want to become a Christian, or you already are a Christian, or you're a young Christian, don't let that sway you. Yes, it is very irritating and I get it, but yes, I agree with this and it's really unfortunate. So this one actually made me laugh. So the second one I'm going to read out to you is Christians are very competitive over things such as titles and riches and possessions. This is true. I mean, this is very true. Like, I know and I have seen a lot, and I mean a lot, of Christian men, Christian women, they're fighting for titles such as, I'm not just a regular Christian, I'm a bishop, or I'm not just a regular bishop, I'm senior bishop, or I'm a pastor, I'm a youth worker. And they're too busy fighting with each other, and they're too busy almost living their life for, impressing other people. Like, I actually know a lady, and she told me that an area where she used to go to church, you had to wake up on Tuesday morning just to figure out what you were going to wear to church on Sunday. Like, what? And it's not just titles that Christians tend to be very competitive about. It's literally everything. Very mostly Christian related stuff, like, oh, my son is a senior pastor, and then the other one's like, well, my son is going to be a prophet, and then another one's like, yeah, well, my husband's a bishop. And it's kind of like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing apart from, you're just fighting each other, and that is stupid. Okay, so competitive riches. Yes, yes, and I tend to see this a lot with church leaders, particularly like preachers, pastors, prophets, whoever. Like, not all of these, like, because the people that do this, they are false. That's a big allegation to make, but if you do this, then yes, you are false. But they tend to preach stuff like prosperity. Hear me out, I'm not saying that teaching prosperity is wrong. I wholeheartedly believe, 1000% believe in being rich. I do believe in being successful, and I believe in making something for yourself. However, if that is all you're preaching, simply to get the offering, simply to grab your tithe from these innocent people that you are deceiving simply because you're behind the altar, just to get your money's worth, and then you're running away with it, buying, holidays and stuff, like, I'm sorry, but that's dirty money. That is very, very dirty money, and, shame on you. Superiority complex. Yeah, I've seen this a lot. So when people say superiority complex, it kind of goes hand in hand with what I said earlier about them being competitive. They want to be the best Christian. They're very, very religious, and unfortunately, we've lost our way. Christians have lost their way. It's not about religion. It's not about that. And this may shock some of you, but it was never about religion to begin with. I mean, if people want to get technical about it, then look at Jesus Christ. When he came here, was he religious in any way? No, at all. If anything, he hated religion. He was the one that was shouting at the religious people. He was calling them out on their nonsense. But another one here said, Christians do not practice what they preach. That unfortunately is true. And, often they're too busy doing the above things. They are too busy being competitive, and they're too busy looking down on other people who are not Christians. They're too busy looking down on people who, for example, are doing things that they don't believe is right. And instead of practicing what they preach, which should be, Jesus Christ and how he lived, they're just being mean to other people. And so that comes off as wrong. What did I say? It doesn't come off as wrong, it is wrong. And that creates the impression and creates the assumption that, all Christians are fake. Christians dress like grandparents because they have to be modest. Okay, so this is one that I myself have struggled with for a very, very, very long time. And it's a stereotype that I really had to fight with, even personally, because the things I like to wear and the things I choose to wear are not, basically things like, I don't even like talking about modesty, to be honest with you. But, things like spaghetti straps like this, or, things like crop tops, or, shorts or skirts, and even things such as ripped jeans. They're very frowned upon. And do you want to know something? I've seen a bunch of videos on this platform on YouTube that have talked about how it is wrong and, it's not good for a woman to wear a swimsuit or a bathing suit, whatever you want to call it, if she goes swimming, or in a hot tub or anything. The woman has to, cover your shoulders, then they have to wear longer shorts when they're going swimming. And I'm thinking, you can agree or disagree with me, that seriously, what is this? Seriously, what is this? And the thing is, a lot of the women say, oh, but we should keep men from sinning. Yes, I agree. We should keep men from sinning. However, let me tell you this, it is not our responsibility as women, as men, it's not as anyone to stop someone looking at you any type of way. Because if someone wants to look at you some type of way, if they're looking for something, they're going to find it. Like, for example, if I go to the pool and I'm wearing a bin bag or a potato sack, that could cover me from head to toe. And if someone is gonna be weird about it, if someone is gonna try and find something, then yes, they will find something. As I was saying, if someone is perverted, if someone has wandering eyes, it doesn't matter what you wear, they are going to look at you some type of way anyway. However, there are some outfits that just aren't appropriate for certain occasions. And, you know, I say that in the nicest possible way. For example, if I go to church, like, I'm not going to be wearing, like, you know, I'm not going to be wearing shorts or, like, a bikini top or something like that, because it just doesn't fit the setting. If, however, I was on holiday and I was at the beach, yes, I would wear that. Or it's just the same, like, if you're going to work, you're not going to wear, you know, something informal. For example, if you work at an office, you're not going to wear, like, shorts or something like that. It just fits that. But unfortunately, people have gone above and beyond this, and they've taken it upon themselves to preach some really harmful things at people, specifically young Christian girls. Now, am I saying that it is right for a Christian girl or Christian guy, whatever, to go out in, like, you know, crop tops that show your whole stomach and, you know, little booty shorts and, you know, 5-inch heels? I mean, first of all, it is not my place, and I am in no position to tell you what you can and can't wear. I would not recommend that. And I've got other assumptions here. They just go into, like, the women's roles in the house, or just in general. So the first one says that girls and women have to do all the housework. What have you been reading? Who have you been listening to? Please tell me, because, you know, asking for a friend. Because where does it say that? If you look in the book of Genesis, you'll see that Isaac was the one who prepared, you know, the meat. Isaac then had 2 boys, 2 twins, Jacob and Esau. Read up about them if you like. And you'll see that Esau, the older twin, he was the hunter. He was the one that, he hunted all the food, all the game. So back in those times, it was things like deer. And you'll see that his twin brother, Jacob, the younger one, he stayed home and he was cooking. He was making soup. And so if you follow the story, you'll know that Esau came and he was just like, give me the soup that you're cooking. And it's not just those, you'll read that it was the men who prepared the food. It was the men who cooked. So I don't know where that gender role came from, but snap out of it. I'm not saying this just to say girls shouldn't be doing all the housework. Men, you need to cook all the time. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you are in a marriage or in any form of relationship, it should be 50-50. It shouldn't be one person doing all the housework and working for you while you don't do anything. Like, that's not fair. And the second one is women have to be silent. Where did you read that? I know it says in the New Testament, when Paul was writing letters, he said, women, be silent in churches. Yes, Paul did say that. But he was not referring to every single woman that goes to church, or every single woman ever. Because let's face it, if God did not want us to talk, he wouldn't have made it possible. Like, we wouldn't have a mouth, we wouldn't have a voice box, we wouldn't have anything that would allow us to talk. We wouldn't have tongues, nothing. So, no. Paul was writing a letter to that specific church at that specific time, and the reason he told those women don't say anything is because if you read, the women were rude. And I mean, they were very, very rude. So Paul said it would be best if these women just didn't say anything at all. And it would be best if the women asked their husbands for permission in order to talk. That, again, women, ladies, girls, we do not have to ask permission from our fathers or from our, fiancés or husbands or anything like that if we want to talk. Like, what is that? That's, I don't know. Girls, don't be silent. It doesn't say anything like that. Okay, so another one here is Christians can't have fun. Okay, and I get this because someone told me, I'm not going to say who, but someone told me that he was friends with this girl, and this girl became a Christian, and as soon as she became a Christian, she stopped hanging out with them and she stopped having fun altogether. I'm not here to tell her who she should and shouldn't hang out with. Well, what's my own? But she did it in a way that was very, it was very mean. So when she found God, or when she became a Christian, she decided that hanging out with these people is not godly enough for me. Or, things like, I don't want to talk to him, he's not Christian, he's not godly. And as Christians, should you be surrounding yourself only with Christians? No, that is, oh, do you hear my shoulders? No, that is toxic. That is so, so toxic. And again, if Christians want to be technical, if Christians want to look into the words, then the example that Christians are meant to be following is Jesus' example. Jesus did not, for 1 second, sit around with religious people. What for? I wouldn't do it either. I would drive myself insane. But he hung out with people such as, Mary Magdalene, the prostitute which he helped. Other prostitutes too, not just her. Thieves, tax collectors. They were seen as you don't hang out with them. Criminals, people like that. People who in the religious eyes, they were no good because they were not godly enough. But for those of you who think, you don't have to do what Jesus did, you don't have to hang out with such people, it is not, they're not Christians. Let me be real with you. Who do you think you are? If Jesus then did the same and we're meant to be following his example, and you think you're too good to even hang out with someone who is not Christian, then seriously, shame on you. Because you're spreading a wrong narrative, you're being very judgmental, as stated before, and you're being very toxic. And also the thing about having fun, there are some things that Christians, they can't do. And also if you look in the Bible, there are some things in black and white that Christians can't do. However, there are so many things that the Bible just doesn't talk about, and there's so much grey area. And I do believe that it is very personal. Just because one person is doing something doesn't mean it's okay for you. Or just because one person doesn't like something or doesn't want to do something, it doesn't mean you then have to follow and then not do that specific thing. But, the Bible does say, don't get drunk. Me, for example, if my friends are going out, they're going out to eat, or they're going to a bar or something, I'm not going to be that prude. I'm not going to be that person that's like, ew, alcohol. No. The Bible says don't get drunk, and that is it. Will I go out with them? Will I eat with them? Will I go to the bar with them? Yes, I will go. However, I'm not going to sit there and, get absolutely hammered off my face. No. Things in moderation. And can I just add, I think that the Christians that I know, you know, the ones that are fun, the way that they're fun is very creative. Like, you know, not only is it, I wouldn't say innocent, but not only is it, you know, a cleaner way of having fun, I see it as it's quite creative. If the lighting has changed, then I'm sorry, but, you know, the weather in the UK is very bipolar. It can never make its mind up. So, and plus I don't have a ring light, I'm just using natural light. So, the next assumption is that Christians are very pushy. They push God down your throat. You know, basically, one of my friends, my very, very, very good friends, she told me this story about how there's a girl she knows, and the girl is very, very pushy with her Christianity. It's like she wants to talk about God and absolutely nothing else. Like, and that's actually something that I want to discuss. Okay, so this next assumption is Christians are pushy, they push God down your throat, and things like that. It's not even a case of, you know, oh, I'm Christian, and that's it. They treat it as if, you know, you have to eat it! You have to be Christian! Like, come on. Right, and the thing is, when Christians push this down your throat, when they push the fact that they are Christian down your throat all the time, what's going to happen? You're constantly having something stuffed, you're going to choke, and when you choke, spit it out. You don't want it. The very thing that made you choke, I know if I was choking on something, I would not want to eat the food again. Keep that away from me, sir. And the sad thing is, a lot of Christians treat it as, you know, it's a personality trait. And when they shove it down your throat, they don't even, a lot of the time, they don't even do it as in, you believe in the Bible, this, like, I'm Christian, why aren't you Christian? Are you Christian? Do you want to be Christian? Do you want to go to church? And it's just like, really? It is not a personality trait. You do not have to wear purity rings all the time. FYI, this is not a purity ring, so don't get it twisted. You know, being a Christian is not purity rings, and I see that a lot. You know, they shove the fact that they wear purity rings down people's throats. Oh, it's a purity ring. I'm saving myself for marriage. It's a purity ring. Do you want to buy purity rings? I have a purity ring. Oh my God. And even when they snap things, it's almost like a lot of what they snap or take pictures of is, you know, they'll take pictures of the Bible or with their hand on the Bible. Purity ring, Christianity. And it's just like, what are you doing? Okay, we get it. Like, enough already. Another thing they shove down your throats is this. I see this a lot. You know, did you get your spiced latte before you came to church? Oh my God, yes. Like, or they wear flowers in their hair, or they have to wear their hair some type of way, or they have to wear their makeup some type of way, in a God-honoring way. Yes, if you get that reference, yes, I'm being very shady right now to that particular message. Is Christianity a personality trait? Absolutely not. And if you see it as a personality trait, you're very dull and you have no personality whatsoever, because Christianity is not personality. Let's get that real. Just like being nice is not a personality trait. Like, personality traits are, you know, someone's funny, someone's outgoing. Like, this may surprise you, but a personality trait for me is I'm very introverted. Things like that. Like, Christianity, we get it? And by the way, if people want to hear the message, if people want to go to church with you, if they want to hear about God or your faith, by all means, tell them. However, if the person has said, no, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about this now. Please. Then what? Respect them. What can you do? Don't after that say, oh yeah, but you're gonna go to hell. If you don't want to hear, you're gonna go to hell. You know you're gonna go to hell, right? You know you're gonna go. Another assumption I had is they interpret the Bible wrong. This wasn't as popular as the others, but this did come through quite a few times. So when someone says that, it's kind of like, you know, they almost take it word for word. That was another one that I got. Christians take it word for word for word for word for word. And there are some things there which you can take some things and apply it to today. For example, a lot of people are fixed on the Old Testament. And let me be frank. I prefer reading the Old Testament. It's so much more interesting. That's where everything is. That's where the drama is. That's where the action is. You know, you've got horror in there. You've got romance. You've got everything in there. And then when you transition to the New Testament, that's when Jesus comes into it. And that's when, you know, he kind of comes and he's just like, actually, all this old stuff, it's not working. Like, this old stuff is not working. Scrap that. This is the new way. And that is mostly the reason why people didn't like him, because they were just like, what's wrong with the old way? But in this case, like in the Old Testament, it says, you know, if you're a farmer and you plant things, like for example, if I plant a carrot next to a potato, then that's wrong in the Old Testament. Sowing seeds or sowing anything with potatoes, back then, that was a crime. You couldn't do that. Just like you couldn't wear different, like, fabrics together. Like, I couldn't wear cotton with something else, like with silk, for example. It had to be all one. Piercings, that was an absolute no-no. Like, I have 7. It was 8, but 1 closed. Hey, love that for me. Things like that were just frowned upon. You know, tattoos. I actually have 4. Things like that, which it was frowned upon. And even things such as, you know, if someone, what is it? Ooh, what I'm actually trying to say is, yes, apply the lessons. No, do not do them literally. Do not build an ark, like I said. Do not take your son to the mountain and sacrifice him, because no one's going to help you. No one's going to rescue you or your son. You're going to be doing that alone. You know, do not, you know, not plant potatoes with these things. Do not take it so literally. Like I said before, my advice is pray about it. That's it. Pray about it. And the final assumption, which made up most of the assumptions, was hypocrites. I did not see that one coming. I did not see that one coming. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Hypocritical, that is, you know, hypocrisy and Christianity, it's almost like those two go hand in hand. And it refers to everything stated above, especially being judgmental, even though Jesus, he taught love, even though God is love. And the problem is not, you know, the problem is no one reads for themselves. No one looks for themselves. And scratch underneath the surface, underneath hypocrisy is pride. And scratch under the surface of any bad thing is pride, but especially under hypocrisy. And I'm going to tell you why. People tell, for example, if I tell you to do one thing and I don't do it myself, it's because I don't feel like I have to do it. But you have to, because I told you to do it. And if you don't, I'm going to look down my nose at you. Like, And it is so unfortunate. You know, I won't get into hypocrisy too much because I feel like I have covered it a lot. But, you know, let me give you this story. Story time. Not a long story, but actually, I won't give you this story, just the one, because this happens a lot. You'll see, for example, the pastor or the preacher behind the altar, and he's teaching about purity, like, for example, no sex before marriage, all of this. Yet he's cheating on his wife with young girls. I don't mean girls as in like underage, but you know, older teenagers and around my sort of age, like early 20s, mid 20s. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, how can you preach this when behind closed doors you're doing that? And, you know, to all of these people that have actually gone through all of this stuff, especially in the church, because this stuff happens all the time at churches, I cannot stress it enough, you know, I apologize on their behalf, on behalf of Christians like myself. Like, and you know, if you are doing these things, then do better. Seriously. And I ain't trying to be nice. You need to seriously do better, because Christianity is not about you. And when I say it's not about you, I'm not saying that you're not important or your walk is not valid. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying your pride and your ego and this, you know, the supposed personality that it gives you, it's not about that. And it's not about projecting that onto other people. It's not about you being superior. Because if you really read about it, and if you really look at Jesus' life, what are you displaying? Because unfortunately, there are Christians out there that are trying. And this kind of behavior from the majority, just, it sheds a bad light on us. And that is the opposite of what we should be doing. Okay, so that is me done. If you did enjoy this video, please comment below, tell me your thoughts, give it a like, and I'm gonna link my socials down in the description. You know, follow me. If you do want, you know, a part 2 of this, I'm not expecting anyone to even watch this, but if you do have any questions, please comment below or get hold of me via my socials and I'll be happy to answer you. Bye.